If that does not get you thinking and start thinking this is all a complete fucking sham, you're lost. Hello and welcome to another episode of Frankly Speaking. As you know, we've been doing it on live a lot lately, so we've not really uploaded much to YouTube because...
Instagram Live, that is.
Instagram Live.
Platform. Could we go into the local, council area and let's just talk live to everyone?
Or doing a Jeffrey Tubin where you're on a work meeting live and suddenly...
To be fair, that sounded a bit more like a woman stroking herself, because there was more flaps involved.
Have you seen Hall Pass?
No, I haven't.
It's where you learn about the fake chow, where you tapping.
I have seen that.
I think I've shown you.
Yeah, you showed me that.
So already the content is 15 plus.
Nowadays, 18.
Yes. So as I was saying, nowadays you're completely struck off, unless it's gay. Yeah.
So if you go to an asshole.
So yes, as I was saying, we were doing a lot on Instagram Live. We're trying to do. I just think it's actually more impressive if you can do it live.
Unfortunately, we don't have the hands to do it. It's me and Callum. As we've said, if there is an Asian internet guru who would like to join us, and the reason I say Asian every time is because we need more diversity. We're both white. We're
and
both
they're good at computers.
Stereotype.
They come from somewhere.
Cultural appropriation.
It's appreciation.
But yeah, we need some diversity in the group, and I hear they're good at tech.
On with the show. So,
to be fair, I've never had a tech guy come who...
There was too long a pause after that.
Yeah. When they're Asian, I've never had a problem afterwards. When they haven't been Asian, I've had to call another tech guy in. And you know who tends to arrive? An Asian. The second time round.
Make sure the job gets done.
His name's like Chan Wei, but we call him Ben.
Not Huawei.
Huawei. Wuhan. What? Sense that.
So today I want to talk about a video I saw from Dr. Rashid Buttar. I watched a great video with him on Brian Rose's London Reel a year ago, the start of all this shite. Did you ever watch that? It's worth going back. It's like an hour long.
What is it again?
It's a Brian Rose. It's a London Reel with Dr. Rashid Buttar.
No, I haven't. Although Brian Rose has kind of slowly lost credibility because of his fail in this run, unfortunately.
What?
Continue
to
to
have the best one, did it?
Play with your nunchucks and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah, it was a bit shit they went after him for that.
Yeah.
Like, Sadiq Khan has completely failed London. Not just failed London, he's destroyed London.
Here's Brian Rose.
But the Americans, the Americans got fucking nunchucks. So yes, in this Brian Rose video, it's quite scary because, well,
a lot of jump scares.
Yeah, I'll let the video speak for itself.
Wow. Committee members asked who would become, I read that. Several committee members also questioned what would happen to individuals if they refused to participate in the World Debt Reset Program or the Health Pass or the vaccination schedule. The answer we got was very troubling. Essentially, we were told it was our duty to make sure we come up with the plan, meaning the Liberal Party was told that it was their duty to come up with the plan to ensure that would never happen. We were told it was in the individual's best interest to participate. When several committee members pushed relentlessly to get an answer, we were told that those who refused would first live under the lockdown restrictions indefinitely, and that over a short period of time, as more Canadians transitioned into the debt forgiveness program, the ones who refused to participate would be deemed a public safety risk and would be relocated into isolation facilities. Once in those facilities, they would be given two options: participate in the debt forgiveness program and be released, or stay indefinitely in the isolation facility under the classification of a serious public health risk and have all your assets seized. As you can imagine, after hearing all of this, it turned into quite the heated discussion and escalated beyond anything I've ever witnessed before. In the end, it was implied by the PMO that the whole agenda will move forward no matter who agrees with it or not. That it won't just be Canada, but in fact, all nations will have similar roadmaps and agendas. That we need to take advantage of the situations before us to promote change on a grander scale for the betterment of everyone. The members who were opposed and ones who brought up key issues that would arise from such a thing were completely ignored. Our opinions and concerns were ignored. We were simply told to just do it. All I know is that I don't like it, and I think it's going to place Canadians into a dark future.
So, as you can see in that video, a lot of the shit that was outlined happened, which gives what might happen credibility. Now, I've actually seen in a lot of, like, in newspapers and online, they call them refuseniks. Basically, so when you get arrested, you get put in the nick. You can imagine what the first word bit is. So going in the, being put in a nick for refusing the fluid.
Prick.
The prick, yeah. I mean, that scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
What's the point in doing this anymore? I mean, you gotta just for a bit of extra safety, you got to wear your tinfoil. Because
there was a good bit there where we both could have just walked out
Yeah.
and then just had the camera just like left as it was, and they give one of those Family Guy things where it's like, how long do we leave it before we actually come back? It's
Yeah.
like, okay, this isn't any funny. How long are you gonna be, lads? Okay, it's kind of funny then.
But we've seen so many things in the past year where they go like, no, that wouldn't happen. That wouldn't happen. That'd never happen. And then it does happen. And then like something gets a bit more extreme. They go, no, well that definitely wouldn't happen. Not now. And then it does. And
Yeah, it wouldn't stop you from working if you haven't been jabbed.
Okay, so I'm going to show you something now that shows just how crazy we've got it pretty shit in this country.
Not as bad as Canada.
Not as bad as the Philippines. Watch this.
May mamili kayo. Magpabakuna kayo o ipakulong ko kayo sa silda.
Wow.
Sabi ko sa inyo, yung silda dyan sa mga...
He says, I'm telling you, the police jails are filthy, foul-smelling, and police are lazy and cleaning.
Lahat na ng baho nandun.
He's honest. That is where you'll be.
Magpabakuna ka. Otherwise, I will
Here you
order
go.
all the barangay captains to have a tally of the people.
He says you will get vaccinated, otherwise I will order a tally of people who have not been vaccinated.
Kasi pag hindi yung...
I will not inject them with ivermectin, which is intended for pigs. But if not, I will.
There is a national emergency. Kung ayaw mo magpabakuna, iparesto kita. At ang bakuna ay galing...
I'll have you arrested, sent to prison, and I'll inject the vaccine in your butt.
With my dick.
So in the Philippines, they're literally taking a prick in the ass. Whether you
And
like it or not.
that's not a play on how small penises are over there either.
But so we think it's bad here. I mean, it is bad here.
It's funny, I have a few mates that are Filipino. It's
You all saw our asses this morning?
luckily they've got dual citizenship. I say luckily, they're still fucked in this country as well.
England's best fly half, so half Filipino. Marcus Smith. How he's still not in that squad. So, the whole kind of why I want to talk about the whole Rashford Batar video, because that was like the Canadian liberal government, is they've...
Hang on. Spell it to me.
Oh, Rashford Batar.
No, liberal.
Le.
Yep.
E.
Yep.
B.
Yep.
E.
Yep.
R.
Mhm.
A.
Mhm.
L.
Mhm.
Fascists, yeah.
I actually did write fascist on there as well.
So I want to talk a little bit about Bill C-10 that was just passed in Canada, where don't let them con you into thinking they're all very polite, because I've seen some people, some trustworthy journalists in Canada saying being in Canada right now is being worse than being in an Islamic republic. Like, it is, there's Islamic authoritarianism, and there's polite authoritarianism in Canada.
Hey, we don't want you to feel like you're in danger, eh? But we'll put you into a camp, eh? And keep you out of the way, eh?
We're just going to ruin your life, sorry, eh? Sorry, just going to put you in this camp, eh?
That's the least in South Africa until the end.
Yeah, didn't it?
Mine was turned into Australia. So.
But no one wants to turn into Canada. Canada's the country where everyone leaves for America. I know some British friends that have, like, some have gone to Canada, some want to go to Canada because they kind of want the American lifestyle but don't want America.
Guns!
America's great.
Often that's what they go though, don't they? They go, I'll go to Canada because there's less gun violence. That's often why people, because they go, oh, I don't want to take my kids to where there's been, mass shootings. It's like, well, yeah, you can go there and then proceed to...
Just go Wyoming.
I say just go hell to leather and drop yourself in Texas.
Yeah. So this Bill C10 basically, so the government can regulate your social media. They literally, Big Brother can watch your every move because nowadays your every move is digital, really.
And really, even though they're kind of already doing this, it's now official.
Yeah, now they don't have to hide it.
So
now they can
normally
just do it.
They'd be in a bush with their pen and notepad. Now they're just in a...
Now they're just sat in your living room.
Now they're just sat in a camp chair just outside your house going, yeah, what's that? Yeah, okay.
Oh, so you're watching hairy BBWs, are you? Fuck off.
So
I don't actually.
You found
Not
an
hairy.
interest in tranny porn recently.
She had a very convincing face. The surgeon did an excellent job. I was just as surprised as you are when they hadn't done the full thing.
But you continued to watch.
We were nearly at the end. I always see things through.
But you said this is my favourite part.
I liked the storyline. The acting was convincing.
It was in Filipino.
I like it in the butt.
I rest my case, Your Honour.
So yes, Canadian lawmakers passed a controversial bill that aims to regulate programming distributed by media streaming services and social platforms like Facebook and YouTube, a measure that critics warn could infringe on individual speech. It's a bit too late for a bit too late for that. But so this coincides with my personal beliefs on why this is all part of an evil plan. And I mean, just saying it out loud.
Dr. Robotnik.
$100 million. Just saying it out loud to me even sounds crazy. It's all part of an evil plan. You expect it to be in a film.
I think it's like it's part of dun dun dun.
Yeah, dun dun dun. But hear me out.
Basically,
there's been a lot of wrongdoings in this past year that I have laid out in previous episodes. So the latest thing for me that says that this is all part of an evil plan is that we've just found out. Also, June the 21st has been and gone. And oh, by the way, happy Brexit Day. Today marks the 5th anniversary. I won another vote. But so yes, back to I digress. We've just found out June the 21st has been and gone, not happened, as we suggested would happen.
I know what you're on about. It's still 3 weeks to flatten the curve, mate.
It's been a fucking long 3 weeks. But they said, because of the soaring cases, we can't, and the Delta variant, which was the Indian variant.
But for copyright reasons, they went for Delta.
Well, because I know Nepal, I think India have also basically, I think they almost started legal proceedings.
Yeah.
saying it's not a thing and you're making us look bad.
Yeah, stop using footage from a gas leak.
Defamation, motherfucker! So anyway, I digress once more. They stopped the Freedom Day because of the rising...
It wasn't going to be a Freedom Day anyway.
No, it wasn't.
No. It literally was going to be, you know, if it actually did happen, it might have been a case of, oh, now everything's open up, but here's still restrictions.
Wait,
so it's not freedom. They
put the contracts out for county councils months ago about COVID marshals starting from the 21st of June.
We've had to postpone it.
But yeah, so they made the decision on the 14th to cancel the 21st because of rising cases.
But 21st didn't say anything homophobic.
yeah. YouTube cancelled us. And then it was found out that they were using out-of-date data. And journalists publicly put this forward to the government. And at this point, the government has two options. They either do the honourable thing. I know, sounds crazy. They do the honourable thing and say, bugger, we've made a genuine mistake. Scrap that. June the 21st is back on. Or, and this is the path they did take, they can be evil, heartless, criminal bastards and carry on with the restrictions as normal. Now, in some cases, some people go with some things, oh yeah, no, things need time. You can't just implement that. And you go, yeah, okay, it's fine. It's like, you know, if you wanted to take away like a government department, you can't just go, we can't just do it today because, you know, you need to give it time to kind of shut down and there's already contracts being signed, etc., etc.
I feel like that's a load of shit though, because the amount of times that like a lockdown be put back into place like 2 days notice.
Oh no, yeah, no, that I don't mean that.
I think that's a load of shit.
No, I mean as in like when, like I would scrap student loans because it makes universities no longer competitive and it doesn't bring the prices down. They should put the prices up because they know there's basically a blank check they can sign. But you couldn't do that tomorrow because you'd cripple universities because they'd have set out budgets, etc. Which, don't get me wrong, wouldn't be the worst thing.
But the thing is with that though is obviously that's not set about 3 or 4 months in advance.
No, yeah, I know. But my point is, if you take that away, you'd have to have a phasing out period. But my point is with this, you wouldn't have to have a phasing back to freedom period because it's not as though businesses going, oh, we need time. They're like, no, we want to open right now. It could be 2:30 in the morning, and there'd be businesses, if they said you can open now, they go, fuck me, yes, get the doors open. Who wants to come shop?
Yeah.
So if they weren't heartless bastards, they could just go, sorry guys, we cocked up. 21st is back on. Crack on. Instead, they're sticking with the new date on wrong data, and it's wrong data again, by the way, but now they've been truly found out.
Will the new date be looked upon the data they should have looked at for the 21st? And then they go, still doesn't line up. And so then we'll keep having to look at data from the previous time, and so we'll always be one data behind, and so we'll never fully open.
It's like a deck of cards, isn't it? It's like, you know, you finish your game, you put the cards at the bottom, and like, basically, we're going to get around to it. So now we're on to July the 19th, and I could see they might reduce it quite a bit just because they can now see, Pete, some more people are waking up.
People are getting pissed.
Yeah, I can see them reducing a little bit more, like quite a bit more, to then lock us down again.
Yeah, well, that's what they did last year. They people were so, you know, the morale of the nation was down. Vaccines, they didn't know what was going to happen with them. Well, they probably did, but to the public knowledge, we didn't know. And we weren't really, as far as most people who hadn't woken up at the time, we weren't really aware whether we should be open or not. But at this point, we were like, right, we need to be open regardless.
Some of us were.
And so obviously we opened for the summer, eat out to help out to build the economy again, and then immediately proceeded to then blame everyone who took advantage of that scheme, and then go back into a lockdown again.
Look what you did.
Look what we gave you did. Look what we did that made this a problem, because we did this.
Something is someone's fault, and it's definitely not ours, and it's definitely yours.
Yeah, it's like
back in your room for another 3 weeks.
It's like you boot a football at a kid's face and then shout at him for his face being in the way. You booted it. Anyway, We were at a similar point last year, and eventually got back to put back into lockdown because their vaccines weren't fully ready up, and they needed to possibly have a reason to push them and have them pushed so heavily so quickly. But now we're at a similar point where they might ease restrictions maybe to how it was last year, and then the football will probably build up a bit more, the Euros and everything, and travelling fans. That is if England actually survive against, say, France, Germany, Portugal, which I don't think they will. Anyway,
it's not going to be travelling fans for us.
No, but they'll go to Wembley. But obviously, building up fans and then fans coming in, and all these different things, and they'll have a reason to go back into lockdown. The tournament itself, regardless of whether we open up or not, is going to have 60,000 fans in Wembley. Which, for me, for Callum's opinion, don't care. That's great. We can crack on as normal.
I'd rather 90,000.
Yeah, exactly. But that will be their catalyst, their reasoning to, because of the football fans, things have spread, and so now there's a new variant called the Wembley variant, and we have to go into lockdown. And then the Wembley variant, there'll be a lawsuit, so I have to stop calling it the Wembley variant and become the Southend variant. And then that will be the Southend variant that will spread around the south, horrifically hitting London very bad.
Do you mean Southend and Essex? Is it Essex or is it London? I think it's Essex. It is Essex, yeah.
But anyway, they'll rename it to that, and therefore...
Geography with Callum. Sorry.
We'll be back into a lockdown. And that's a fair prediction, wouldn't you say? I mean, the fact they've
I won't be surprised.
They've greenlit that people. We saw people today having conversations. We saw people today having conversations. Oh, I can't believe they're having 60,000 fans in Wembley. And
like, and they also said, we're not gonna open up until the young ones get vaccinated.
The whole reason to get vaccinated, for their definition, they need to go up to Newcastle and Middlesbrough and find something. And
they're the headphones I tend to use.
Yeah. But the whole reason and their definition is that it makes you either asymptomatic or have less symptoms, so you don't spread it as much. Young people already have that benefit. Unless you're a fat fucker and you're young, a bit different then. But even then, they still survive.
So anyway, you mentioned those things. I want to go to 2 points there.
I'll just finish it. That obviously,
yeah,
we don't have a problem with obviously that many fans, and there's people there.
More the merrier. Not Hillsborough levels, but more the merrier.
But the problem I have with it, and I'm sure Callum does as well, as we know that will be their excuse. The government do this all the time. They build up a little catalyst. They plan ahead for, right, let's do this, appease the people, and we can actually use this appeasement for an excuse to go back into lockdown again. And why? Well, because right now the younger generation, a lot of them are slowly starting to wake up because they're starting to see their friends who say have had the jab and they've had severe side effects, and they've gone on to basically go, well, I'm not going to get that because my friend had these horrible side effects. And the younger people are actually starting to question it, which is why the government's putting so many extreme measures in to try and convince people to get it, try and convince it's safe, for YouTube to claim things are medical information.
Yeah.
Misinformation.
Yeah, Callum, we're taking down your video because of medical misinformation. Okay, YouTube. Can you tell me what the medical misinformation was? We reviewed your appeal and it's taken down for medical misinformation. That's the shit we're dealing with. You can't...
But slowly, actually...
It is a war. We are currently in a war of information.
As you have said, people are actually slowly starting to wake up. Not the masses, but slowly but surely people are. Mainly down to the fact, as I said, they're seeing people they love and care about have severe side effects because they can't hide things people see in person. COVID itself, the reason why a lot of people went into lockdown is because they experienced it firsthand and we accepted it. Vaccine, as soon as they start seeing firsthand adverse effects or deaths, people can't ignore it.
Right, so I had to write them down because I know I'd forget. I can see August being fairly free.
No, same. September tends to be the time where it'll be discussed, will come in.
But when I say fairly free, do not start thinking that I am suddenly one of these people who go, we're kind of free, so we're free. No. For me, normal is normal. 2019 shite. So I can see August being fairly free just to give us a little bit of R&R. And then they can really say, look what you've done. Because, so I was looking at Ellie Gray's Insta the other day. She was having a lot of NHS staff, nurses and doctors, anonymously message her saying, we're being told to take our leave before September. Now, I was trying to find this for you earlier, but I watched a video earlier of Matt Hancock saying, if you've had the AstraZeneca, you need to take the Pfizer for maximum protection. If you've had the Pfizer, you need to take AstraZeneca for maximum protection. Here's my thinking. To coincide with the old Agenda 2030, reduced population, we might as well crack on now, because it's going to go on Rumble anyway. It's safer there. And we know this will get taken down from YouTube.
My question is, though,
Go on.
Hancock, it's not ibuprofen and paracetamol. You can't, surely you can't mix
Well,
them.
so here's my thinking, right? That maybe, so the first one says, tells your body, when you see this, attack.
Allegedly.
So when you inject the Pfizer, I'm guessing maybe vaccine A reacts badly to vaccine B, and vaccine B reacts badly to vaccine A. And that's where you see they're already planning for a shitload of hospitalisations in September. They're now wanting people, and we know Hancock's evil. The man fake cried on telly.
Not just that, there is now being whispers among politicians and health individuals who are on their side, not paid off by them, probably paid off by them, that because we haven't concentrated on flu, now flu will be a much worse thing because they actually haven't looked into how to do the next year's flu jab. So maybe we won't be in lockdown from COVID-1D or COVID.
No hiding anymore.
Yeah.
It's getting taken.
It might well be from flu. So you know all these things, and we never locked down for flu. Why do we just treat it like flu? Well, actually, we're going to treat flu like COVID soon, and it'll be due to vaccinations, but they will claim flu. That's another prediction. I mean,
well, get on the Daily Expose and the UK column and look up all the adverse reactions. They keep all the tallies there. It's scary viewing.
but wouldn't you agree on with the flu thing and the vaccine?
Yes. No, yes. But my next point was, so you mentioned 60,000 in UEFA. Okay. If you're watching this now and you know anyone who is still not quite on our side, timestamp this moment now and show them the bit I'm about to say. Okay. Your life has been ruined this past 18 months, not by COVID, but by government restrictions. You were told on the 27th of December, once we get 15 million jabs in and vaccinate the vulnerable, cry for freedom. Then we were told on the 1st of April, QR codes to freedom. Now we're being told we have to delay Freedom Day until the 19th of July, when the G7 summit in Cornwall last week, they openly took the piss out of you, taking pictures where they're socially distanced, and then they had loads of other pictures where they were basically cuddling at barbecues. And now, for the audacity of the United Kingdom keeping the semi-finals and finals, the European Championship at Wembley, they have been told by politicians and UEFA, European politicians, that they will move the venue for the semis and final if there's politicians and UEFA delegates that are coming from amber list countries that have to quarantine to go to Wembley. And they have now said that they can come without quarantining. If that does not get you thinking and start thinking this is all a complete fucking sham, you're lost. There is no hope for you. I wish you all the best. But I can't think of any other way you will finally wake up and smell the coffee.
Hypocrisy upon hypocrisy.
So my next point.
Moving on.
So I was thinking earlier, right? You know, the whole divide and conquer, and maybe one of the ways they've basically recruited people for the pro-COVID army is, you know how they deaths within 28 days.
What colour would their uniform be?
Hans, are we the baddies? But they don't design our uniforms.
I do think the COVID army would be purple. Not like a dark purple.
Yeah, I can see that. That's a bit of a menacing colour.
Yeah.
But you get the wrong shade, they just look a bit gay.
There'll be the odd few where their uniform's been washed in too high of a colour and they just look quite like, oh look, the fucking tweenies are coming towards us.
So I was thinking the other day that, you know how with the whole deaths within 28 days of a positive test, or in the early days, just showing symptoms.
Yeah.
The amount of people that were told, oh, your loved one died because of COVID. So you have a lot of people who now, even now, after seeing all this shite, they're blind to it because COVID killed my dad, COVID killed grandma, COVID killed my friend. I was thinking maybe it was all part of a plan to basically recruit people for the pro-COVID army with the war on information by basically having a lot of people believe their loved ones died of it, because that's going to solidify some votes.
Well, I do know people where.
So how many deaths? Like, I think it's a huge majority of deaths have been falsely identified as COVID, basically to get people on side. Unfortunately, the wrong side.
I mean, you can never quantify that number because we know there is probably hundreds of thousands of deaths that were reported falsely for COVID. And that's, I don't care if we get struck off in misinformation.
We're gone from YouTube already, Corey.
Yeah,
this is only on Rumble now and in our hearts.
That has to be a fact. I don't even have to look it up. The fact that, you know, when it came out on Sky News and BBC and all that, oh, well, it turns out to be reported for COVID death, you just have to test positive and then within those 28 days afterwards die. And it's like that in itself is ludicrous.
Yeah.
But we've got to step back further. It was, as you said, someone could have just had a bit of a cough and suddenly they were a COVID death. Do you know how many people have coughs? So people are a bit of a, you know, they said sniffy nose wasn't one of the symptoms, but if you had a sniffy nose, typically your throat was sore. So you're a symptom. You're someone who has supposedly died of COVID now. It's ridiculous.
And this past year, you couldn't just be ill, could you?
No, literally being ill. Everyone's like, "Get away from me! Get!" You know, I've literally just got a bit of a cold.
I remember when you and I went to work and our boss was there, and like I'd had a snotty nose. And I was like, "Oh fuck! I've got a 11-hour shift and I can't sniff because you know all it takes is you to get a test or you're not working." Fortunately, he didn't. Well, actually, because I heard him go. I went, "Oh, thank fuck for that! I've been dying to sniff."
No, that ain't right, man. That ain't right.
I too have a cold because remember them? A cold.
Yeah, I actually feel uncomfortable when I could say go around the shop with this because actually my allergies this time of year are horrific. So I actually I am actually mask exempt when I have allergies. It's horrific. I can't breathe with one on.
Everyone's mask exempt because they don't work.
But when I was walking around the shop,
medical misinformation.
When I was walking around Tesco today to get those tablets, I was actually nearly in tears because of my thing, and because I didn't want to cough or sniff because I was like immediately people would go, "He's wearing a mask exemption and he's got symptoms," and I was like, "I just want to buy a meal deal and some citrazine." I literally got to the I was like, scanned it all. I went outside and I went, then carried on, and I was actually fine then. But all I could think about is I need a cough, and then your eyes start to water if you don't let yourself cough. It's like when you're in a school exam, you knew you had a cough, but you'd already coughed 4 times, and you're like, "Fuck it, I'm just not gonna
because
cough."
Someone coughs, and someone else coughs, and then there's that one where like one person does it, and the teacher's right. You don't all have to do it. You clearly shouldn't. No, mine was genuine.
see, fake. You do it the ones that go. That's fake. There's no inhale there.
Yeah, because we would all do it, so wouldn't we? Because you'd be
Because you'd have.
Did it? The little things that entertain you.
Either that, or there's about 30 other students in a room full of say 100, and they all need to cough, and one does, and they thank fuck, and then suddenly you have all these students cough at once because they've all been holding it in. So the teacher thinks it's a farce, when really they're all just fucking dying because they need to cough. But yeah, there's been a few times I put my hand up to go to the toilet and I literally close the Google and just clear my throat and cough like a shit ton. Because you'd have exams in winter sometimes, wouldn't you? And you'd have, like, say, when you did GCSEs, you'd have your English and your maths early in the year, and then you'd have the main ones later.
Yeah, because I was doing modular maths, and the first one I was sat next to one of the Cantonese kids, so I scraped a B. And the next one I was sat next to an English kid. And it appears we both got an E.
They will cost. It will cost about £80 million.
About £80 million?
Yeah.
Right. How do you get to that figure?
With our collective forces, we both got an E.
So I scrapped the modular and went to foundation linear. Fuck me, that was an easy exam.
I did foundation first because I think I might have told you a story before, but I kept trying to fail maths because I wanted to be in a different class with my friends in the set below. I started in set 2, put me down to set 3, but as they put me down to set 3 my friends got put down to set 4. So I kept trying to be shit at maths to be with my mates who were literally in the classroom opposite me, and they were telling me they'll move me down a set if I keep struggling. I wasn't struggling. And then they went, right, we're putting you in for foundation at the end of the year. I was like, so what's that mean? Because we can only get a C. And I needed a B for what I wanted to do. So I went, right, put me in the foundation for January. I went, no, because from what looks like you'll fail. We don't want to do that. Put me in for January. I went, okay, fine. I got put in for January. Got an A. I literally got 98%.
What, you got a C?
Well, a C, but C, 98%. Then I actually took the real one. That's right.
Fair dues. Yeah, I was shite.
No, I actually really enjoyed maths. When I was in...
I enjoyed going to maths, only because we had Miss Jenny Walker. And...
But I do maths backwards. I don't actually work out I don't work out the way they set it.
What, are you French? Although Welsh is the closest language to French.
And Welsh is backwards. Most of it anyway. No, but I work everything out backwards, so you know how someone would typically divide the bigger number, take away the bigger number from the smaller. I do it the other way around, but it works completely in my brain. And so in year 7 with my teacher, a bit of a random story, but she brought my parents for parents' evening. She chats to them. She went, look, there's a class that's actually higher tier for this for like year 8, year 9. We're going to put Corey and a few other people in that class. But I do want to say, I have no idea how he works his stuff out. I look at his workings out. They're completely wrong, and he has the right answer. So I don't know how to explain it. My 30 years of teaching, I've never seen it. She's like, actually, he has a different form of maths in his head. It's like, it's actually quite unique. She said, I kind of want to look into it more. And yeah.
You're a vaccine side effect if ever I've seen one.
Yeah. But no, I'm actually really good at maths just off the cuff.
Fair enough. I still am not. So I didn't get the chance to go through the board at the start. So yeah, Dr. Rashid Buttar circles down to Bill C10, which circles back to what was about Dr. Rashid Buttar. Happy days, we can finally talk about ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine.
We're already off YouTube anyway.
Yeah, because it appears that they couldn't suppress it long enough. So now, I genuinely think they're now trying to control the narrative.
It was the
Do
fact,
not let them do that.
I don't know who said it, but someone, I don't know who it was in America, but they said, we didn't want to talk about hydroxychloroquine because we didn't want to associate ourselves with Trump. That was their reasoning for not wanting to use some medication that actually worked against COVID.
Yeah, I remember. I was going to because I remember seeing that.
Isn't that bad though?
You're literally playing with people's lives.
Just for the sake of not wanting to associate yourself with someone who's
Well, yeah,
political.
Governor Cuomo literally refused help from Trump and admitted for playing politics. How is he 1, not struck from office, 2, not in prison, 3, not being bummed in prison because he should be.
But that's happening in the UK as well. Politics is Trump in health consistently, and then what's Trump in politics? Their own wealth.
Fucked up.
Wealth, politics, health. In that order.
So you mentioned already the NHS staff use your annual leave by September. Now I want to go on to the book State of Fear. Have you heard of that book? COVID.
That is actually a symptom now, apparently. Like,
Well, no, do you ever seen
when he knows
one
it's
of
a
the
symptom.
symptoms?
It's not
There's
having
no symptoms.
Yeah. One of the symptoms of COVID.
Holy
is having No
shit.
symptoms.
I'm riddled. I'm with COVID. So the book State of Fear. I think her name's Laura Dobson. I'll get the name for it. I mean, you've probably heard of it anyway if you're watching
Are
this.
you going to keep that sneeze in?
Yeah.
I apologise.
It's quite a good book.
Oh.
But one of the things she talks about, and as I mentioned earlier, like the fake labelling of COVID deaths, guilt. She talked about how we all got told very early on that chances are it's not gonna get you. So people are like, oh, I won't. No. If it just said it's not gonna kill you, so like please listen to all this, people just go, no, shut up, I'm gonna be fine. So you turn it round. You'll be fine, but somebody else might not be. People are being guilt-driven into it, and they're doing the same now with the vaccines.
I created a meme, and I'll make it tomorrow so we put it on the video. And I got banned off TikTok because of it. They banned my account, so I made a new one anyway.
Jenny.
But it's,
TikTok's Chinese folks, they're not setting their best apps.
but it's Joey from Friends sat at the table, and I will send it to you, and he's there sitting there, and Monica and Phoebe get told something, I think by Ross or something, and they go, "Oh my god!" And like Joey doesn't react at all, so they freak out, and he doesn't react, and obviously because he's quite slow, and then he goes, "Oh my god!" And it's like, and I captured the meme. Everyone, when they heard COVID kills older people or whatever, just affects the vulnerable, and they're going, "Oh my god!" And it's like me, a young person, knowing I'm not vulnerable, and then it goes, "Me as a young person, also having a grandma." Oh my god! I'll get it up. It's funny. And yeah, I got deplatformed because of it. They literally banned my whole account instantly. They didn't even tell me the video was deleted. I turned it on one day. I was banned. I was gone completely.
Jenny don't like to send pics. Refuse Nick for you. So yeah, the last thing I kind of want to talk about, unless something comes to mind, was the book State of Fear.
See, that sounds like a video game.
It does sound like a good game.
You're constantly in a state of fear, like and your character has like a state of fear bar, and basically you can't go too far or you should die.
Get it, mate.
Copyright.
Yeah, great book. Fantastic. It explains a lot about how we got in this situation now. James Delingpole recently interviewed her, the woman who wrote it, and I mean that in itself is I'd listen to that before you start reading. Kind of gives you a bit of an idea of what you're going to read, but she explains more things in depth.
So where is this book? Have you read it?
My dad bought it. Don't know why I point over there. My dad's in Poland.
That's actually the funniest thing you said all day, because it's so unintentional. Yeah, my dad booked. Wait, he's in Poland.
Have you seen Austin Powers?
Yeah.
Yeah. Stand up and take a bow, Dad. Dad?
Where is Poland in reference to here on the compass?
Right, so Stonehenge is that way, so Poland will be that way, you reckon?
So he's east 120 degrees.
Am I pointing at Poland?
Well, hard to tell, but the compass says east 120.
Get your Google Maps up, because if you turn, it actually shows where you're looking, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Show me Poland, baby. I'm going to stay pointing that way, because if I've got it right, that's well impressive.
Then when your dad comes
Sieg
back,
Heil, motherfucker.
that's what the Polish did see.
Yeah.
Hitler was there like, oh, have I got Poland? Oh, is that Poland? Get the maps up. Get the...
Wer ist mein Vater? Wer ist mein Vater? Ja.
Right. So you are just off. You're on Slovakia. If you just went slightly there.
Stand up and take a bow, Dad.
You're now on Poland. You were really close.
I was going to press that.
But unfortunately, obviously, a slight inch off is actually 1,000 miles.
Yes, as every woman has always told me. Yes,
Really funny bit.
I highly recommend
Poland.
you get that book, you read that book, you learn from that book.
I might get that. Well, I still need to read 1984.
Yeah, you do.
The thing is, you've told me so much about it, though.
I know, but I
kind of like know it already.
you kind of, but
Because I'm living it. I'm living it. Why do I have to read it when I have to live it?
You're reading a manual.
Yeah. Steps to survive.
Shit, you're not there. If you've not read 1984 yet, read that as well, because you'll just get to a page and go, it says 1984, but that's 2021.
And you'll hear people like Callum barg on about it a lot. And so for someone like who's not big into what we're doing and just found this on the video, thinking, fucking hell, they're barking on 1984 again. But I'm gonna read it because he's, you know, I've read certain parts of it and I've seen captions from it because people share it a lot nowadays, and it does line up heavily
Orwell
today.
fiction again. There's t-shirts, that's quite good.
Yeah. But no, I'll definitely read that. What's that book you got underneath it?
Brave New World, similar sort of book. I've not got into that yet, actually. I just want to leave you a little bit of information. You've probably seen the video. Former police officer Mark Sexton.
All right.
In one of his Freedom of Information Acts, found that I believe the metropolitan area of Birmingham is the largest in Europe, and in the past 5 years, last year had the least amount of deaths. So, pandemic? I think not.
Plandemic? I think so.
Now, some people might go, "Oh yeah, but there wasn't that many deaths because of the lockdown." Well, even still, can't be a pandemic, can it? It can be a case-demic, which if you take your minds back to last summer, they were banging on.
It was all
cases.
No deaths though.
So please,
Well, there were deaths, wasn't there, bro?
like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, and
Is it subscribe or Rumble? What's their thing?
yeah, I think you do subscribe and Rumble.
Surprised YouTube haven't patented that. Probably get a lot of
No,
money
because it's
from
a
that.
word in YouTube, isn't it?
You know,
In the dictionary.
No, but like patent, almost like the subscribe button,
Yeah, maybe.
because they're gonna get a lot of revenue. Now YouTube have heard that, we're about to fuck the one network we compete on.
No, they haven't heard that because they've already kicked us off by now.
Yeah, we're fine. Yeah.
So, yeah. See you next time. You got anything you want to?
Oh, just make sure you share it. That helps us massively. We've got a bit of a following on Instagram now. YouTube we struggle a bit because we get censored massively, and Rumble, again, there's not a massive load of people on there who are already on our side. So, we're kind of like, within the group of people that are already discussing this. But be sure to share it if you are watching it from the Instagram. We'd love to get a bit of a bigger platform and get our word out and actually be able to afford a bigger setup.
Yeah. So it's Wednesday now. It's going to be up tomorrow.
Well, it's down to you. You're editing it, aren't you?
Yeah. Can you help me at work? Cheers.
Yeah.
So this should be up by tomorrow, Friday at the latest. So if you watch this before the weekend, get yourself down to London for the Freedom March. It starts at 1 p.m. In Hyde Park, I believe. I'm going to be interviewing somebody on Sunday that I went to school. That was at my uni.
You'll change my mind.
Yes, I'm hoping to do a Change My Mind as well. Hopefully next Tuesday.
Should we call it something different?
Well, we'll look into it, but it's a Change My Mind concept video. And we want to be doing it in Salisbury, and the question is going to be, COVID vaccines aren't the answer, change my mind. So, plenty more stuff in the pipeline. See you then.